Transformational leaders such as Lawrence Iverson, who was a former president of the Mr. Machine Company, once said, "We got this job because you're the best mechanics in the world." The statement correlates to Ernesto Guevara when he said, "I don't care if I fall as long as someone else picks up my gun and keeps on shooting." These two statements from two leaders, and I believe transformational leaders, show the motivational speech and the charismatic approach in order to elevate the performance of the whole team. Thus, transformational leadership is recognized to be one of the best methods to lead people in meeting the goals and expectations and visions of any organization. However, in the specific area of health, transformational leaders inspire others to be efficient and proactive to their environment. And this is quoted by Lucia Kremer and Robbins, 2014. This presentation or speech will encompass an analysis of the leadership style of Ernesto Che Guevara, who I believe is a person who was a transformational leader and a situational leader at times as well. He is important in analyzing his leadership theories in health services management because it can illustrate the way that he moved his soldiers and the way that he interacted with other individuals and motivated them to do the revolutions in Cuba and Congo and other certain areas such as Bolivia as well. So, firstly, an identification of the leader's leadership qualities will be mentioned, followed by a justification for the reason this particular leader was recognized. And the leadership qualities will be mentioned as well in regards to the revolution in Cuba and how he managed to develop his leadership styles and a brief history about him and all that. So, firstly, Ernesto Che Guevara was born in June 14, 1928, from an Argentinian aristocratic family. He was the eldest of his 5 siblings and was deemed the most stubborn child in his family. His father was of Spanish-Irish descent, whilst his mother, Celia, came from a distinguished and landed lineage. And this relates to Ernesto's cultural intelligence and why he was curious to travel the world. Moreover, the grandmother of Ernesto was a prominent socialist and a liberal, which was a significant influencer in his life. Thus, his political views were adjusted from his young age. Moreover, Che witnessed emotional diversity throughout the streets of Argentina. Che once quoted, "The streets of Argentina changed who I am." In relation to this quote, I will explain a brief story that Che witnessed when he was walking the streets of Argentina. In the street that Che Guevara lived in, there was, and I quote, the man of dogs. It is a legless cripple who was pulled around on a small chariot by a brace of hounds. The children in the streets kept on mocking that man and had abused him for a while by these youngsters. However, when Che saw that, his instinct as a leader blossomed and he instantly charged at the children. Although he was 8 years old, he took initiative and he saw that it was wrong and he wanted to change it. And therefore, as we can see from his early childhood, Che has had that emotional, social, and cultural intelligence that directs him to determine what is right from what is wrong. This story, amongst other stories of Che Guevara's travels, will illustrate the emotional leadership that corresponded to Che's leadership style. Yes, and so now let's travel to the 1950s when Che was in university. Che joined the University of Buenos Aires to study medicine for his passion in helping the poor and relieving the sick. Although Che was portrayed as a Marxist leader who did not have time to do anything except lead and do revolutions. He was a vigorous reader and loved to read for poets such as Pablo Neruda, John Keats, and Antonio Machado. It was discovered that he had more than 3,000 books in his home, which relates to his cultural intelligence and the way that he persuaded others to read and accept other people's opinions. So, leading to that, his cultural intelligence led him to actually want to travel the world and want to experience a better or a different lifestyle. He also was a rugby player. He was a rugby union player, and he has played for the university, which earned him the nickname the Fuser, which meant raging in Spanish because of his aggressive style of play. And he was a great leader in sport as well. These stories actually interrelate a lot to later on in his life, where he led Cuba for victory because of these small stories that made him discover himself to be a great transformational leader. And it formed his leadership style as well. So now Che Guevara is thinking about different ways of going on in his life, and he saw that Argentina is suffering a lot from poverty and how his people are going in life. So the life-changing moment in Ernesto Che Guevara's life was after 5 years of studying medicine. Him and his best friend Alberto Granado decided that they would want to have an expedition where they travel the northern Argentinian region. So on a hot day, both young men rode their one motorcycle, on a journey of 4,500 kilometers through the rural areas of northern Argentina. Throughout their travels, both Ernesto and Alberto used to stop at various locations to help the poor and heal the sick. Again, this reflects the emotional and social intelligence that Che had developed from a young age. After he came back from his first expedition, Che had changed the way he thought about the world and wanted to eradicate poverty, which led him to embark on the socialist Marxist ideology to destroy poverty in Argentina and develop a political stance where everyone is equal in his country. After that, he went on another expedition, but this one was an 8,000 kilometers expedition, and he found that the people in Peru, or more specifically San Pablo Lipa colony, had suffered extensively. Throughout his second expedition, Che found himself enraged by the working conditions of the miners that were killing themselves for the government of Chile. He witnessed people without blankets to cover themselves, and many farmers were working on small plots of lands owned by wealthy people who do not even pay them rent or don't pay them anything. After ending his 8,000 kilometers journey, he saw that the country needs to be liberated from Chile to Venezuela from the dictatorship that was prevailing at all times, and he has decided to go on his journey of revolutionizing his country. I quote Ernesto Che Guevara: "At the risk of seeming ridiculous, let me say that the true revolutionary is guided by great feelings of love. It is impossible to think of a genuine revolutionary lacking this quality. And this is why I chose Che Guevara, because he had his empathetic view about how to treat people and how to lead people as well and motivate them, and he had that charisma in him to change his country. So moreover, Ernesto Che Guevara was an unusual revolutionary for his time. He had his own ideologies and opinions about the destiny of his country. Indeed, Ernesto was an ideological transformational leader which persuaded people to become his followers and followers of the revolution that he has led. Accordingly, ideological leaders dedicated themselves to